Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about Game 16, which is a game that certainly happened. Okay. I feel like I say this for every single Rangers video, but it's because there's so much to talk about. Where do we begin? Shesterkin's in net. I thought he was pretty solid. I thought this was a pretty solid game overall by the Rangers, actually. I thought Shesterkin made one really bad play, and I thought the defense made one really bad play. Both of them resulted in goals, but that was about it. I thought overall the defense looked pretty okay. I thought Shesterkin looked pretty darn good, and the offense was really good. It was just a good night overall. Or a really weird night if you're Montreal. So, getting it started. Rangers, just about at the end of the first period, passing it around the offensive zone. Strome has it, he gives it to Panarin in front. Panarin takes a shot on goal, it's stopped. Then he collects the rebound and passes it over to Kaapo Kakko, who tips it on in, scores. It's 1-0 Rangers. And to be fair, there was kind of nothing the Canadiens could do at that point because Kakko and Fox were right next to each other gunning towards the net. And, I mean, you can't pick one of them to cover because, granted, Fox is a much better player than Kaapo Kakko, and that's not to denigrate Kaapo Kakko, that's more so to build up Adam Fox. But Kaapo Kakko is also a very talented player, so either way, you can't just say, oh, we can ignore that one and only focus on this one because they're both very good, and it ended up being a Kakko goal. So that's neat. Back-to-back games with goals for Kaapo Kakko, and he was a madman tonight. Kaapo Kakko was shooting the puck like crazy this evening. I want to make sure he had 3 shots. I don't know how many shot attempts he had, but he was just all over it all night long. A great evening by Kaapo Kakko. But it's not all happy fun. It's we get to this point. A Dvorak goal. And all right, it was a very nice goal by the Canadiens. Shesterkin just didn't see this one, and it wasn't like, oh, someone was blocking it. He just didn't read it properly and didn't get over in time. It was a really nice goal by Dvorak. Shesterkin should have had that if he would have read the play better, but I'm not going to completely dunk on Igor Shesterkin because A, I'm biased towards him, and also B, it was a bad goal. Luckily, it was only one of them, and we still won the game. I'm only going to really, really denigrate on Shesterkin with goals like this in games that we lose, just for future reference. And I'm trying to do the same for Georgiev. I want to be fair, guys. Not a good goal to give up if you're Igor Shesterkin. Pretty nice one if you're Montreal. 1-1. Okay, alright. And then we get to the next part of the evening. So, Ryan Reeves checks Michael Patiza. And Patiza doesn't like that much. And he decides that he is going to fight Ryan Reeves. Now, who in the class can tell me what's wrong with this? Yes, you're fighting Ryan Reeves. Now, Michael Patiza decided in his 8th National Hockey League game that he was going to drop gloves with Ryan Reeves, the best fighter in the National Hockey League. So I'll give him credit. That takes some guts. Not everyone would do that. Then you saw why not everyone would do that. Ryan Reeves did not want to take the fight. He gave Patiza every chance to not fight him. And then, when he did make the move, he absolutely cleaned his clock. And this was dumb for 2 reasons on Patiza's part. 1, you fought Ryan Reeves. And 2, you guys had momentum at that moment in time that you completely swayed by fighting Ryan Reeves and allowing him to absolutely just beat the hell out of you. Rangers, with that momentum that they gained from Ryan Reeves murdering a person, score. Chris Kreider, pretty nice play in our zone, gets the puck, gives it to Mika, who had slipped just seconds before that, but then immediately got back up. He takes it into the zone. He cruises. A beautiful pass from Mika Zibanejad over to Chris Kreider. He tips it on in. It's 2-1 Rangers. I don't know at what point Mika Zibanejad randomly in the offseason decided, hey, what if I became, instead of a goal scorer, what if I became a playmaker? But I am here for it. That is Mika's 10th assist of the season, and a pretty darn beautiful one, too. 2-1 Rangers. And that was it for the second period. Early in the third, oh boy, Hedl, battling along the boards for the puck, gets jarred away. Nick Suzuki gets it. He starts to move out. Hedl with some pressure on Nick Suzuki, certainly, but this goal is all Gauthier. Picks Kurt Suzuki's pocket, gets tripped, and while falling, just backhands the puck up into the net with what might be the best Rangers goal at it. Best goal of the season, certainly Just a beautiful one by Julien Gauthier. And I want to talk about Gauthier a little bit because he isn't always a big show on the stat sheet, right? Gauthier doesn't always... He has never really lit up a scoreboard. But man, Gauthier just grinds game in and game out. And I'm not just going to sit here and talk about grit. But man, it seems like he always has a nice chance or two in any game he plays. He just can't finish. This time, he finished incredibly. It was a beautiful goal by Gauthier. And man, he played pretty well. I believe it was last game. He played well tonight. He always gets some shots. I'm fine with Gauthier getting a little bit more time. Because when he scores things like this, you're like, yeah, you have a ton of talent, man. And I just would love if he could fully unlock it. But a beautiful goal nonetheless. Rangers take a 3-1 lead. And that multi-goal lead would last about as long as William Henry Harrison did. I had to dig really deep down in the bag for that one. Soon after the Gauthier goal, the Habs get one back. They move it into the zone. It's Josh Anderson and Dvorak coming along Igor's left side. And Anderson just drops it back for Dvorak. Now, in front of the two of them is Niles Lundqvist and Patrick Nemeth. You would think one of them would pick up Josh Anderson, who's starting to head in between them. Instead, neither of them do. He slips past them just completely freely. Dvorak takes a shot on goal. It's a pretty nice save by Igor Shesterkin. He can't stop the rebound. It's put in by Josh Anderson. I have a really hard time putting any of the blame on Igor on this one. It just... Man, the defense has got to be better than that. I get that it's the third pair. But, man, just a simple little bit of communication between the two of them to pick up Josh Anderson there, and it's probably not a goal. That one's kind of frustrating. Okay, so the rest of the game was pretty dormant after that, until about the last 30 seconds of the game. So, it's empty net for Montreal. So it's 6-on-5. You have your extra attacker, you're down by 1, and granted there's only 32 seconds left, but hey, crazier things have happened. Anything's possible, right? Lightning can strike. Until Brendan Gallagher decides to completely shatter any hope of that. Face off right outside our zone, and Brandon Gallagher and Barclay Goodrow are kind of jawing each other up right before puck drop. They do that all the time. Players do that constantly, and those two, it kind of makes sense, you know? Both of them last year played in the Stanley Cup Final. Goodrow and the Lightning steamrolled over the Habs, so them jawing back and forth a little bit, that makes sense. And Barclay Goodrow is smiling during it, and so you think, oh, maybe it's just, you know, normal ribbing. And then they both go for the puck. They kind of both, you know, nuzzle into each other. That's what I'm going to say? Yeah, okay. They nuzzle into each other and go down. Brandon Gallagher gets up and decides, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to punch Barclay Goodrow directly in the face with 32 seconds left in a 1-goal game for no reason whatsoever. Like, this isn't 10 minutes left in the third period where by starting a fight you could swing momentum or anything. This is time's expiring. It's not over. It's not like they just scored an empty net and it's 4-2. You can easily still tie the game. There's 32 seconds left and you have the extra man because of the pulled goaltender. There was no reason for Gallagher to do this. But instead, he just decides, hey, Barclay, knock knock. Who's there? Fist! Wait, what might be the funniest part of that was the refs didn't notice it for a solid, 10 seconds. And so they're just kind of playing on while Barclay Goodrow is sitting on the ground dying because he randomly got sucker punched for no reason. And they're like, whoa, something happened? We didn't notice anything. As he's sitting there like he's just been shot. After what felt like far too long to discuss this, because the discussion should have went, hey, Brandon Gallagher, you can't do that. It's the timeout chair for you, young man. But instead, there was this long, drawn-out discussion of well, who do we penalize here? Which was very strange. The Rangers get a power play with 20 seconds left, and they just kind of pass the puck around a little bit, and then it gets cleared into our zone. Which, side note, the Canadiens, even with the shorthanded, got a shot on goal off, so there was, clearly they could have gotten a shot off and won the game. But eventually the Rangers actually do get the power play, even though there's 30 seconds left. Big whoop, it's just going to kill the clock. And they just kind of pass it around the zone. It gets cleared into ours. The Canadiens do get a shot off, so if Gallagher hadn't taken that, and instead of being down a man, they would have been up a man. Who knows? And then, because nothing makes any sense, as time is expiring, Josh Anderson, seemingly not learning the lesson from what his teammate just did, decides, hey, Trouba, it's your time! And Trouba was like, yeah, I don't like just getting punched for no reason, so he beat up Josh Anderson, which warranted, and that was it, because time had expired at that point. They were doing this after the whistle, because Josh Anderson decided that was the good time to do it. Which was like the third weirdest fight of the evening, which kind of says something about the game. It was certainly a game that happened. Rangers get 2 points. I thought they looked great tonight. I know the Montreal Canadiens are not the same team that last year made the Stanley Cup final, but man, the Rangers just looked good tonight. The defense made one bad mistake. Granted, that mistake resulted in a goal, but you can take that because you won. Igor made one really bad mistake. Resulted in a goal, but you won. The offense looked pretty darn solid. I have nothing really that bad to say about the Rangers' performance tonight. And with the defensive thing, like, yeah, it was a bad play by them, but it was your third pair, so you can kind of stomach it. Just a good, solid game by the Rangers tonight. I'm happy. And that's it for the evening. Our next game is Thursday against Toronto at 7 in Toronto. I don't know how much of the game I'm going to be able to catch. I am doing a PA system gig that I have that evening at 6. I'll try to catch as much as I can. I might watch the game late. I don't exactly know how I'm going to do it, but I will still be here that evening with the video on it. So, that is all I have to say for the evening. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Rangers.